All right, Charting Horse Value. We're back for another week of Hops and Horses, and got a special guest today, Matt from Armchair Handicapping. Matt, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, my name is Matt. On Twitter is Armchair Handicapping. Been working on a model, but we'll get to that later.
Okay, so Matt, it's interesting because Matt's like 26. I'm 54. When I was 26 years old, I created my very first computer program to pick the horses. And so Matt's, the next generation coming behind and going to do it again. But before we get to handicapping Saratoga on Saturday, we're going to talk about our beverage. Now, what I've got here is called Spindletop. Now, I had a Spindletop a couple weeks ago, but this one's called Heavy Hands. There's a little picture of, I think that's Luigi. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's Luigi, or maybe no, Mario. Is that Mario? Maybe it's Mario. Anyway, I used to play Mario Brothers.
Can't
And this little boxer holding up his hands. Anyway, this is a hazy IPA. That's what they're known for. It's a double, so it's a little bit stronger. I think it's 8% alcohol. I've never had it, but it rates very highly on the Untapped application. Gets a 4.22 with like 10,000 reviews, which is unbelievably high if you know anything about that app. You can see it's very hazy. I like the color of it. It looks awesome. Let me try it here. Really juicy, really, really juicy. I love these hazy IPAs. So anyway, I love mine. What do you got, Matt?
So I am going with the Bourbon Barrel Ale.
Okay.
Brewed out of Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
It's always been a favorite of mine. I figured I'd give it a go for this episode.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to share a couple documents here. Give me a sec. And we're going to do races 7 through 10. Again, Matt's with me this week. Jake will be back, I don't know, next week or the week after. I got a couple other guests that want to do a show with me. So we'll kind of rotate it around a little bit. But race 7, the Glen Falls, this year it's a 1.5 miles. Last year they ran this race. It was 1 3/8 miles. And I don't remember if it was inner or outer, but we'll check as we go down here. But who do you like, Matt?
I've got my eye on number 5, my sister Nat. She's got a couple strong workouts, best turf speed out of the field. In her last 3 races, she was showing some significant late speed. And I think this pace is going to be somewhat average to fast. So I think it sits perfect for her. She's going to be sitting in a great spot to finish strong down the stretch.
Okay, cool. You like anybody else in the race?
I've got my eye on Warlike Goddess, of course, but she's looking pretty chalky right now.
Okay, yeah. So let me look at my sheet and we'll come back to this. So my sister Nat sits on top of the sheet. Okay, so we got that in common. I got some issues with her. One of the issues I've got is this energy score that I developed. She only gets an 86. That's a little bit slow. The race itself has no pace in it. Delika looks like controlling speed. Call Me Love's the only one that can maybe even put any pressure on Delika. Delika looks extremely tough to me, probably my top pick. And then Warlike Goddess is going to be that closer coming late, but moving way up in class. So that's kind of my thoughts on the race. But going back to the PPs. So yeah, Warlike Goddess, got a couple wins here in March and April with Le Peru aboard, and then takes 3.5 months off before coming in here. That has to be concerned. Mott is only 17%. And he is, however, 19% on shippers with positive ROI. I mean, he's not the worst play, but at 8-5, he's way too chalky. Now, I don't know if he's going to end up as a favorite. Honestly, I think your 5 is going to get bet. Okay. And and then I really don't like anybody else. Looking at this race,
I did have Dalica as my third choice. I think it's pretty much, there's pretty much a lock to be in the money there.
Okay.
Definitely going to be fighting for the leader, leading the pace there. But yeah, I think she's going to be strong in this one too.
All right. So you're on the 5, 3, and then which one number is Dalica?
6.
5, 3, 6.
Yep.
Trying to see if there's anything else. Maybe it was the one that interested me a little bit. Because the one, might have finally got the light bulb angle, got 2 wins in a row, and definitely stepping up into class. Last year, running in higher class, she wasn't the greatest, but maybe the light bulb angle's on, and she's got a couple wins, and she will be stalking fairly close with a good trip around the course. But I think it's between the 3 and the 6. I'm not a huge fan of the 5, and Brown and Ortiz are going to get bet. So, and 6 might get ignored with Mania up, and I got nothing wrong with Mania. So, and he looks like absolute controlling speed. So, so I mean, that's my pick. So we're on similar horses, but it looks pretty chalky, unfortunately, the first leg. Let's go to the test. This is an awesome race. What are you thinking?
I've got my eye on number 5, always Karina. I think her last couple runs out were routes, but I think her first race was a sprint, and she did very well there. I think she's going to do the same thing here in this sprint.
Okay. Anything else? Any other things you like about that one? By the way, one of the things, Pratt is amazing when he gets on board for Pratt. Unbelievable win percentage, 47%, and $1.84 profit.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable. So Pratt and Chad Brown are legit. And Pratt jumps on this horse. Pratt jumps off of Super Sensational, who I had in that victory ride. That was like my spot play. I singled that horse in the pick 3. I love that horse, but so Super Sensational is definitely moving in against tougher here. But I do like that horse, but Pratt jumps off. I don't like this Baffert horse at all. Can't stand the Baffert horse.
Yeah, I agree.
And the Baffert horse is definitely going to go for the lead. But if you look at it, he's going to be battling with the Bella Sophia, the 8, who should get the lead. And that makes Bella Sophia a little bit dangerous. Gets a 2-2 on my sheet with the C. A little bit far down, though.
Right. I was eyeing her as a long shot as well, but she's moving up in class today, so it is going to be a tough one for her.
Yeah. Not my favorite pick. I'm thinking they're going to go pretty quick. I don't think the 7 furlongs is going to do them any favors.
Right.
And I think it's going to set up. Now, search results gets the spot play designation, this little S with the A+ grade, $17 of value. Search results is by far the best horse in this race, and ran the mile Acorn last, one turn on 5th of June, and beat obligatory.
Right.
Now it was able to was sitting close off fairly slow fractions that day. But this horse was unbelievable in the Gazelle. Now they went super slow time that day. The track was really heavy. That horse just galloped. Okay. Then she came back in the Oaks and almost won the Oaks, almost beat Malathat, and then really dominated in this race. Now she's got to cut back to 7 furlongs, which I think is going to be fine for her.
Right.
And the speed will be there. So search results looks like the first jump, the horse that gets the first jump. And then you got your horse. Your horse looks to me to be in a really awkward position because this horse has always won on the lead. And the one time this horse didn't get the lead, he lost, he gave it up late here in Mother Goose. That was a tough race, but
right.
I was a little concerned about that. He lost to Zahal, okay, who was 18-1 that day. Okay.
Right.
So that concerned me. I think Obligatory is going to make a big run again. Probably not going to win. And I think Super Sensational is the wild card, but probably also not going to win. Back to the sheet here. I think it's search results, Obligatory, and then you got your horse. You like Always Karina. I'm a little suspect of her, but I do like Pratt staying on board. Very chalky race. If you use search results in any pick 4s, pick 5s, you probably got a singler.
I agree. Yep.
Because she's going to be the favorite. So I do like that 4 underneath. I mean, it could be just a 7-4 exacta. Maybe Super Sensational can run up there. You're Always Karina merits respect, but I just don't like this E3 and this 94 early speed, which is way before. So this horse is definitely not going to be on the lead.
Right.
And
it's definitely going to be fighting for a second or third spot.
Right. Going to probably be running with search results in that second batch of horses. 1 and 8 will be on the lead, and 5 and 2nd in the second batch. And then you got the closers coming from behind. So gonna be a great race. Gets the 4 on my betability score, and we'll see how it goes. All right, let's go to race 9. This is an interesting race 9.
This one is, yes.
Yeah, this is the Saratoga Derby. I've never heard of it before. I don't know if it's the first year, but $1 million invitational for 3-year-olds, grade 1. So great race, a bunch of Euros in here. Who you like?
I think it's actually going to come down to a battle between some Euros. I think number 6 and number 4, they're both Ireland horses. I think they're going to be fighting for it. Like you said, this is going to be a really interesting race, but number 6 is coming off a win, I think at the Belmont Derby. And the pedigree for this horse really looks like it loves the turf. So it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
So I bet Tokyo Gold in that Belmont Derby, who ended up going off at like 16-1 and ran second. Bolshoi Ballet won the race. Now, it was very interesting. Before the race, they interviewed Ryan Moore. Actually, they interviewed him at the beginning of the day. And Ryan Moore was riding 2 horses for Aidan O'Brien. They both won. And he was definitely not as confident on the other horse. He exuded confidence on this horse.
Really?
And this horse won, in my opinion, very easily. You have to use this horse. No question about it.
I agree.
Cadillac makes complete sense. And, came over here a year ago after winning, actually running 5th in a grade 1. Then he took 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. And then he won in his first race this year, a little grade 3. He should move forward. Now, by the way, my opinion, all these Lasix off races, I've been studying them this year, and the Euros dominate. The Euros, don't normally race with Lasix, and they just seem better prepared to run in these top quality races without Lasix. Anyway, your Cadillac makes complete sense. Now, when I looked at my sheet, Bolshoi Ballet was on top. That made sense. Du Jour was second. When I look at Du Jour, I didn't like Du Jour in that race coming in from California. And then when he went to Churchill, I wasn't in love with that horse. I did respect this 94 speed figure he ran. and he ran
Right. I
pretty
think
good
it's
in that
highest
race.
in the field.
Yeah, that was high. Okay. But then he got beat, and he got beat by a cellist as well. Cellist also finished ahead of Du Jour. I have a tough time supporting Du Jour here. So even though he's high on my sheet, the other Euros really don't impress me. This one here comes over, it gets IRAD, which, you know, you got to think, okay, that's great. But
Right.
IRAD and Clement suck. They're 12% negative $1.36. And, you know, this horse couldn't win a $66,000 allowance over there. Anyway, this horse looks a little cheap. So I'm not in love with that horse. A lot of people are liking this Yes This Time. I'm hearing some buzz about that. 15-1 with size on. A humongous step up in class. Humongous.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. You look at my sheet here. He's very far down. He gets an 82. Cellist makes some sense. I won't talk anybody off Cellist.
I see your sheets really liking King Fury.
Yeah.
I was also looking that way as well for a long shot. I mean,
Yeah.
she's got some strong workouts, and her last two races were looking really strong with some late speed.
King Fury, first time turf, does not have a turf pedigree. So anyway, I think this horse, if he took to the turf, would be very dangerous, and that's why he gets the plus on my sheet. And honestly, I've learned the lesson the hard way. Don't go against the plus. So I probably got to use it. You know, at least he hasn't been beaten by Beauchar-Belay. Beauchar-Belay beat Du Jour and Cellist. Okay.
Right.
You know, so at least you get a horse that's not proven to be less quality, but you cannot possibly like 5% first on the grass for McPeak.
That is true. Yep.
That's awful. So, I mean, he picks up Jose Ortiz, $950,000 horse, curling to flatter. You know, couldn't beat Masquerade, who, and by the way, they were an all-out drive, and he could not run down Masquerade. Masquerade held that horse off. Horse was unbelievable in Lexington, has scratched out multiple times due to various injuries. I mean, I'm not in love with the horse. I think it really comes down to 4 and 6, and maybe 8, because 8 at least gets a pace turnaround. Here, you know, he's good on the lead, and there's really no pace in this race. If you look at this sheet here, E5 is the only E. It's only a 5. He slowed it down very effectively in the Belmont Derby. He'll try to slow it down again. Fits the race perfectly. I mean, he's the other one you can use, but I think it does come down to 4 and 8 to win. And by the way, the 4 is way down on my sheet here. That's because of this jockey trainer score. If you look at 3.3 to 1 on PFDS odds, he's second. Okay.
Right.
So Cadillac makes complete sense. Probably can get done too deep. Cellist makes sense. King Fury is a long shot. All right. We're breezing right through this thing.
Yes, now we are. I'm about to grab another beer real quick. Sorry about that.
That's good, man. Hops and horses.
Yes,
Cheers
sir.
to you, man. That's a cheers.
Oh, cheers. Cheers.
All right, we're on the Whitney. 5 horses only. People are complaining there's only 5 horses. In my opinion, you can throw another 5 crap horses in here. It doesn't change the race. This is an extraordinarily interesting field. Let's actually take our time and go through each horse in order. So by my standards, what's your take on it?
By my standards, I think it's got a good shot to be in the money. I personally don't like this horse as much. I've got my eye on a few others. but we'll get to those as we move down. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think this horse is incredible at 10-1. Is going to go off as the longest shot in the race. Ran extremely well in that Met handicap. Obviously lost to Silver Slate, who just doesn't know how to lose. Silver State, sorry. You know, this is now, he's now stretching back out and he's getting back to 2 turns, which I think he's a little bit better at. He ran in this race a year ago, lost by 2 lengths to Improbable, and, you know, might have been in a little bit better form last year. Then he really tailed off at the end of the year and needed the break. Now he's got 2 starts under him. He stretches out for the 3rd start. He's probably going to run his best race of the year. I mean, I don't know if he's good enough either, but he's definitely not the longest shot in the race, in my opinion. And right. I mean, I think he's a great, I kind of agree with you. It's hard to see him winning. You'd have to have Nix Go and Maxfield both throw a clunker, and he did lose to Silver State. But Silver State, was, you know, you just can't lose. Okay.
Right.
And
I mean, what is it? 6 in a row, 7 in a row?
6 in a row. And everyone says he's not been beating anybody. And I agree. And then he wins the Met handicap, and 5.7-1 was absolute bargain. You know, I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, he's a little bit better than By My Standards, but By My Standards gets the benefit of 3rd start of the year, gets the benefit of going to 9 furlongs. This horse at 9 furlongs probably is okay. Man, this was a good horse. Does not lose. What a fighter. The horse I like the least in the race is Swiss Skydiver. The only way you can make a case for this horse is off the Preakness in Alabama, especially that Alabama. That Alabama was here. I don't think it's the distance, 9 furlongs, or 9.5 or 10. It's not the distance. This horse was in peak form last year, peak. And this horse is not in the same form this year. That horse looked awful at Oakland, awful in the Apple Blossom, got completely blown away. And I know this horse would have to have a major reversal in form to, I mean, he does get the 3rd start of the year angle, but man, I just don't like how that 2nd race went. I mean, I just don't like how that Apple Blossom went. He did not run well. And by the way, he sucked, or she sucked in the, in that distaff. So this to me is the biggest long shot and is the only horse that can put any pressure on Nix Go. Which one do you like, by the way? We passed the one you like?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm on the Swiss Skydiver train. I think she's going to be coming strong off her 3rd or her layoff, 3rd start of the year, like you said.
You can book that money with me. I'll book your bet.
I'm sorry?
You can book the bet with me. I'll book it.
Sounds good. But no, I mean, she's got our rad. That's definitely a plus.
True. Big job.
I really think this pace for this race is set up perfectly for her.
Okay.
She can be sitting right behind the lead. But I mean, Nix Go is Nix Go. I mean, that's a strong looking horse.
Well, Nix Go got beat in the Met handicap. I don't understand what his excuse was there. And you know, he's a really good miler. He did, of course, he came back and won that Cornhusker, got completely, you know, blew away that field with a gigantic speed figure. And if he runs a 111 speed figure, probably no one else can win.
Yeah, it's game over after that.
It's game over, and he's gonna get an easy lead, controlling lead. But he got beat in that Met handicap by Silver State and By My Standards and Mischievous Alex, who just ran horribly the other day. Did not look good in Saudi, and then blows away the Cornhusker with Lasix back on. put Lasix back on. Now he's got to go back, no Lasix. He's going to go 2 turns for 1.125 miles. Not even sure this horse really wants to go 1.125 miles. I mean, he did win the Pegasus World Cup doing that, but this is a very salty field.
Right.
And then my friend and me just think Maxfield is an absolute monster right now. The way he won that last race in 148 and change, the horse literally went when he was told to go, shut down when he was told to shut down, complete push button speed. The horse is got the big challenge horse has. He's going to have to run down next go.
Right. And I mean, that's what I've got in my notes as well. The last 2-3 races from this horse has just been dominant.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously 2 wins in a row, going for a third. But I think the workouts here, I don't know if I'm too happy about those, but with Jose Ortiz in the saddle, I think it's going to be an interesting race to say the least.
Great race. Can't wait to watch it. The sheet says next go with the K. Maxfield second. That's the horse I like. Swiss Skydiver does show up third in the sheet. And, you know, I mean, here's Silver State, the Met handicap winner last. Honestly,
Right.
Here's the funny thing, maybe except Maxfield. I don't think Maxfield could run last, but I think the other 4 horses could all run last.
Right. I think
yeah. That's
it's
how
a toss-up.
crazy it is. It really is a hard race. Probably should look for a price, watch the tote board, and just enjoy it. But next go, clearly Lone Speed. Swiss Skydiver, maybe I'll try to put some pressure on, but I don't see how she does. And Maxfield will try to pick him up. Anyway, it's going to be a good sequence. No big prices anywhere. Maybe we'll catch a price if we're lucky with Chalice or King Fury up here.
Right.
And really, it's hard to find another price anywhere. So you got to leverage. If you're going to bet this pick 4 or pick 5, you're going to have to leverage your opinions. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share here. And I want to thank you, Matt, for coming on board. And wish you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, wish you the best of luck with Armchair Handicapping.
Thank you.
And by the way, shout out to the DGen Nation. But even bigger shout out. Let me put my other hat on here. Bigger shout out to Charting Horse Value. It's going great. I really appreciate every single one of my customers. Hope to get some more. And we'll see everybody next week. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.